now I part of the team that helps with marketing. And today I thought we'll do a community ask me anything regarding our throne nodes. And I wanted to address a couple of questions that have been repeating in the chat that I noticed. For example, regarding minting, minting the nodes and seeing a bunch of sell on the order books. That's because every time anybody mints a node, 75% of that value gets automatically burned, but the other 25% are because it's drones, it gets sold into the LP. So 50% of the 25% get sold into MIMS and get paired into the LP.
Hey guys, it's Solid here. Thank you all for joining us. I see we got over 350 listeners, so welcome. This is Solid. I've been with the team since day one, initially as an advisor, and then as things progressed, joined as a team member. Like I also mentioned on the Twitter space, I believe last week. It's been quite a journey. A big fan of the team. Back then, when I was an advisor, and then joining the team has been really quite awesome. Highly dedicated team, and I really love the fact to join them and grow Midas into what it has become today and where we're going to be taking it forward. Like FOMO just mentioned, the purpose of this EMA is to address some of the questions that you guys have. We thought we'd get on stage here and address some of these questions. If you guys have any suggestions, ideas as well that you'd like to see on the app as well, we'll be happy to listen to that. Yeah, we can, FOMO, I think we can take some questions, unless you have some stuff to add. I think we're ready to roll in some questions and get the community to speak with us.
Yeah, I don't want this AMA to be just us speaking. I want it to open up to everybody, so that way everyone gets a chance to ask a question, and we'll try our best to answer with the best of our abilities. So if anybody have some answers regarding our nodes, feel free to request to speak, and we will answer them. So number one would be let's invite Turtle Ninja on stage. Turtle Ninja.
While we wait for Turtle Ninja to accept the invite, we'll get little
Hello.
Bobby here. Oh, there you
There
go.
we go.
Do you hear me?
Yeah,
Yep.
we hear you.
Nice to speak with you. Great project there.
Thank you.
Well, I don't have much questions, but I will figure some out on the way. I don't understand exactly how nodes work. So, because these DAO projects are very new to me. Hello?
Yeah, Turtle
Right,
Ninja,
so
we can hear you. Sure.
yeah, we hear you.
Just come back, request to speak again when you have questions. We'll be happy to answer them.
Well,
All right, we'll take the next one.
All right, we got little Bobby and Mr. LeGranville. We'll invite you guys both. Try and take turns.
I think little. I'll answer what Little Turtle said because he says he's new to DAOs. So originally, this project was a fork of Ohm, and people will get the rewards based on the rebase model and the return on investment on the APY. What happened was the Omi forks, a lot of them failed, and we know it's not sustainable. So what we're doing right now with the nodes, we're transitioning from a rebase model into nodes. We're gonna have everything available. Staking will still be available, but Golden Boy, we reworked the whole DApp so we could incorporate everything. So we have a little bit of the rebase model. We also incorporate taxes on the V2. And now with the nodes, we're transitioning from the rewards on rebase into the nodes. So the nodes going forward will be, the rewards will be heavily in favor of nodes instead of regular staking. This is a completely new model, and we hope we plan to succeed regarding this through this transition. Bobby?
Thank you, FOMO. I think we got Bobby here. You'll need to unmute, Bobby.
Bobby, you're muted. You're gonna need to unmute.
All right, we got PK and Tyler.
All right.
Yo, what's good,
Tyler?
guys?
Hey, what's up, Tyler?
So I just had a couple questions. It is kind of a trend, especially on blockchains like Avalanche, where you don't really need as many nodes, or I mean, you could use them, but they're not going to be that easily, or they're not going to be used as much as on Ethereum. Are these nodes real, or are they just NFT staking that just
Yeah.
gives you a rebase every day?
So these are not actually
Validator nodes.
Yeah, validator nodes. These are virtual nodes on the blockchain, and they are minted as NFTs. So this is completely different from other node projects that you're used to, like Strong, for example. They
Okay,
use
so
validator
node is
nodes.
just kind of a name for the NFT.
Yes.
It's a yield bearing NFT that actually accrues value over time and gains rewards on daily basis.
And because it's
But not a real node
NFTs,
that the blockchain could ever use. It's just something that's showable on the blockchain that's called a node because it's an NFT that you named.
yeah, and
As of
because
right now, yes.
All right. Well, I think that you guys are doing cool things with the ideas. It would be dope if we could get actual real validator nodes because it is something that every blockchain can use. Ethereum more than others, but with these funds, that could be something that could be done because they're free to deploy, and that's kind of the whole reason that a lot of these projects are doing nodes to kind of promote nodes being spread.
Yeah, absolutely. We do have the team do have plans to incorporate real validator nodes into the project as we move forward. Um, as we start to move forward. But first, we're gonna, we wanted to do something different. Yield bearing NFTs is something I don't believe any other projects are doing. So this makes us very, very unique. and because they are NFTs, there's there's a secondary market for them. If it picks up, that would generate another stream of revenue for the project via royalties.
Yeah, so to add to that point, as also we mentioned last week on the Twitter space, that this is what we have launched. This is pretty much phase one of the Throne nodes. There's a lot of development that's actually taking place behind the scenes. There's a lot of plans for these as well. The yield-bearing NFTs concept on its own is pretty phenomenal, and there's really endless applications that you can integrate into it. That being said, other projects like FOMO just mentioned, Strong what they actually did initially is they launched their project based on validator nodes, but then they ended up with some limitations provided to their customers. Meaning, if you actually spin up a node on Strong as an example, you're not going to be able to transfer it. You can't really transfer the ownership of it, and you can't sell it on secondary market. So once you actually spin up your node, you're pretty much stuck with it for the long haul. They have been thinking about some to fraction those nodes into like pieces of certain nodes, and that's been in development for I think over 6 months, and really there's not been any updates. The approach that we have taken with Throne nodes is pretty much the opposite. We wanted you guys to have the new concept to integrate the NFTs and develop a new application for NFTs as a yield-bearing NFT. Have the ability to transfer the ownership if you choose to. And then you could also sell it for either a profit or for a value that you think it is worth. And over time, these nodes will eventually accrue value since other people would actually value it, because at some point there's going to be some limitations, like the past couple of, like since yesterday, for the past 23, 24 hours since we launched. As you can see, there's been batches of availability for these nodes, and over time these batches are just going to go lower and lower, because like we always said, we're building a sustainable framework and a sustainable project here with these nodes, around these nodes, and at some point there's going to be some scarcity with the availability of these nodes that would eventually drive up the value of the existing nodes. So there's that, plus combined with the other plans that we have in the near future. I would say of phase 2 of the Throne nodes, then it's not far-fetched of having validator nodes that can be tied into these NFTs. But as long as you have the ability, the tradability, the upgradability of these NFTs, yield-bearing NFTs, that we call them the Throne nodes, then the rest comes in a much easier way. I hope
And
that addressed your question, Tyler.
And I wanted to add a little bit to that because that reminded me, a lot of people have been asking, how could this model be sustainable? Well, it's not just minting NFTs and the royalties. Our model has, multiple revenue generating activities. For example, active management by SOL and Ori. So any profits that we make on our investment, we will use that for buybacks and burns. And also the taxes that we incorporated regarding the tier brackets. Right now it's at 30% because of, we just launched nodes, but it will be laddered down within 7 days to reflect the price brackets that we have on the Discord.
Yeah, that's perfect. So think about the entire ecosystem as more value is driven into the ecosystem. It would appreciate the value into the price of Crown. And the higher the price of Crown goes, then the higher the cost it is to even mint a throne node. And then there's the other factor, which is the index of converting the crown into the throne. So there's a lot of like FOMO mentioned. There's quite a few factors and value drivers that would actually absorb value from the ecosystem back into our utility token, which is the crown, and that feeds back into the throne and the nodes. And so over time, you'll see that there's value driven into the nodes themselves, just because there's a lot of value coming in from multiple points into the ecosystem, whether it be the investments that we're doing, the treasury investments, the taxes, the buybacks, partnerships, you name it. And of course, we're not limiting ourselves to that. There's a lot of venues that we're also exploring into drive in and making new investments, I'd say. And I'll stop at that. I don't want to say anything that I don't mean to say at this point.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff and a lot of ideas and a lot of possibilities that we have in the pipeline for the project. Like short term wise, regarding the drone nodes, you guys could look forward to the DApp improving. So it's gonna look a lot better than it is right now. Right now, at least we got all the function working. And I spoke to a Golden Boy, and he's gonna be introducing upgradability of the nodes. So anyone that have a lower tier node, you could buy more of the lower tier and you could upgrade later. And we might be introducing new tiers. And another revenue source that we might be incorporating is charging a small fee when people upgrade. So that will drive value back into more buybacks and burns of Crown, which will benefit everybody no matter what tier that you're in. Because as the price of Crown go up, no matter if you're on the lowest tier or the highest tier, you're going to benefit because of the price increase.
Yeah, we got cash flow in the house.
Hey, what's up, guys? Cash flow. For those who doesn't know me, I have been an advisor ever since Midas and the whole the rebase model, and I've been stuck with them ever since. So it's good to finally be on Discord for the first time. I've been on the Twitter Spaces before, but now it's great way. Now it's a nice time to finally introduce to you guys. And like what FOMO and Solid has stated, we have been thinking of different possibilities to generate more buybacks, increase the LPs, and add more treasuries as well. And I know everyone's been trying to mint those nodes, and we wanted to keep them limited, but at the same time, so that way to increase the value of those nodes. And yeah, like if you guys have any questions, feel free to speak. We will try to do our best to answer those questions.
All right, let's take some more questions from the community. How about DeFi me? You're invited to speak. DeFi me. All right, how about Jay Zeus?
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
Loud
What's
and
up,
clear.
Jay?
Perfect, sup man. Thanks for having me on. I think you guys already sort of partially answered this, but I just want to clear it up. So on the node limited
Mhm.
supply, eventually will the node just be cut off completely, like from being dished out? I know we're doing it in batches like daily. but eventually, like in the coming weeks, will just nodes stop being, up for grabs and only be on the market?
Well, to generate scarcity, we in the near future we will be limiting the nodes, but we don't know, by how much yet. Maybe monthly, maybe weekly. That's still in discussion with the team.
Right.
But we want to be able to limit them because of the secondary sales to give more value to node holders.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that's all. Just wanted to get clarity on that. Thank you
Yeah.
guys so much for taking my question.
Sure thing, Jay. Adding to that question here, what I also would like to mention is we have an economic model that we're working on. And as we progress with the yield bearing NFTs, the number of minted NFTs already in the market, once we hit certain milestones, then we're going to be having some reconsiderations and decisions when it comes to the number of nodes that will be made available to be minted. And like FOMO and cash flows mentioned, that's going to be either on weekly basis or monthly basis and so on. And the basic idea of this is sustainability. So we follow an economic model that would actually give us the blueprint of where we need to be, what we can provide, and the number of yield-bearing NFTs that we can actually make available additional to what we currently have to stay in that sweet spot of sustainable protocol. Thank you, Jay,
Yeah,
for
and
the
also
question.
I like to have one thing about the nodes as well. If we do plan to do an upgraded or like a tier for upgrade a model for each node, this will then increase the value of the secondary models, especially for the nodes. So that's one way to look at it as well. Like those nodes,
Yeah,
those base model nodes will be a lot more expensive for resale values, while like keeping
Yeah,
the
exactly.
scarcity.
And also, Golden Boy mentioned about the fact that in the future we could also possibly rename the nodes for like a crown price. Like, I don't know if he like mentioned that in the announcements, but I saw somewhere where we would, be able to actually rename the nodes and stuff like that. So, yeah, a bunch of cool stuff coming out. Yeah,
Yeah,
but
for
that's
sure.
basically my question, guys.
Yeah,
All
yeah.
right, thank
Regarding
you.
renaming, yeah, thank you. And regarding renaming nodes, we have ideas of maybe giving Crown the token instant utility. For someone that wants to rename, we'll charge a X amount of Crown, and also in the near future, as was mentioned in the article, we're gonna go multi-chain. The first chain that we might be migrating to or one would be Phantom, and then Binance Smart Chain. So those are all in the pipeline as well. And regarding, you know, being even more sustainable, there's ideas of P2E, maybe using our NFTs and staking in these potential gaming dApps, and that will drive more utility uh, in our NFTs, our yield bearing NFTs.
All right, I think we got DeFi me here.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, great, thank you. I didn't see the accept invite before. So I have a few questions, and these are all things that maybe I'm going to be speaking to a bunch of conversations that have been going on in the channel. On the economics of the project right now, can you give a rough outline of the function of the burn and the buyback? And let me break this question down. The burn and the buyback, new buyers coming in, people minting, and how that affects the price of Crown. But then on top of that, when the rewards are issued and thrown and people convert those to Crown, does that flood the market? What does that do? I'm trying to understand the whole big picture of the ecosystem. Does the question make sense?
So regarding the nodes rewarding in thrones, for those people that gonna be selling their rewards, they will need to unwrap their thrones back into crown, and for them to sell crown, they will have to go through our sell tax. So to answer your question regarding sustainability, those taxes will be added back to Treasury for buybacks and burns, and that's just one cog to the wheel. Like I mentioned, we got investments going, we got income from the minting, which burns and which adds to LP and Treasury as well. And then we have all these ideas regarding P2E and going multi-chain with our Thorn nodes as well. So I hope that answered your question regarding where we're getting the funds for buyback and burns.
I guess that's part of it. I was trying to understand the what is the main driver of the price of crown, but I assume that or what is I don't know, you probably can't break it down into percentages, but what is it driving the price based on all of these different facets that you're talking about? So there's the burn, the buyback, but then we're also going to be issuing throne where people may convert to crown and sell those off. We have new buyers coming in, we have projects, we have taxes, um, bringing money in. What is it that uh, what is the main driver for the price for the price to increase?
Well, for the price to increase, you need
It's
buy
definitely
pressure,
like a
right?
little bit of everything, so to speak. Actually, new buyer, sure, and definitely investments from our treasuries. Those are all fundamental aspects, to essentially increase the price. For our marketing, within the marketing aspect, we will be talking to various agencies to that's good. That's the best fit for Midas, and currently, well, our previous agency helped us achieve, you know, a very broad and good audience for us, and that definitely helped with the price as well. And within the investment aspect, we have orcs and Peacewell to help us with investments that therefore can increase our crown price as well. So I think essentially it's more about bringing in new people and also increasing our treasury that will help boost the price. I'm not too sure about like the percentage wise, to be honest, because we haven't really dug into that. But I would say those are two important factors for sure.
Well,
Yep.
going to the percentages, people who are minting, the whole point is to drive demand for crown, right? So in order
Right.
to mint, people need to buy crown, and stake it, and then wrap it to
Yeah.
throne. And
So,
every
so
time a new node is created,
Right.
75% of that is just auto burned, and 25% of that is added to LP.
right,
Mm.
and what we're seeing now are existing crown holders that have been staking because 90% of those were staked. So
Right.
yeah,
Right.
so we're not seeing a lot of price action at the moment, but what you're saying is new people coming in along with all of these other factors are what's going to drive price.
Right, right. We,
Right.
we we suspect that the initial days or initial periods, a lot of the current, the old holders would start minting their nodes, and then after that their period is done, we would then see less pressure for the price to decrease, and then start with the marketing to bring in fresh new buyers so they could mint as well, and then drive up the price
Okay,
of Crown.
thank you. Could I just
Yeah.
ask a couple just quick questions?
Mm-hmm.
Um, on the DApp, I've had a problem with it, but I know they're working on it. Is there a counter that shows like when you minted and the countdown to, countdown based on the the bonus? And then also, if you take a reward, I assume, let's say after 5 or 10 or 20 days, you take a reward, I assume that resets the counter back to, for example, with Zeus, like that 30 days, that 39 days.
Yeah, so basically, if you actually go into, if you connect your wallet and you go into your minted nodes, if you look at any individual node, then you can see some stats about that yield bearing node. An example here would be, when was it minted? So, as an example, if you were one of the first ones to mint it, it'll be like about 23 hours ago. The tier of that specific NFT, the last claim, when was the last time you claimed a reward? And then the next claim, when would be your next claim, your next bonus be available to be claimed? And at that point, you could, at this point, it'll update every 24 hours. And so I would say within an hour or so, you'll see your day one rewards available and thrown, and the USD value of your rewards. And then the boost, which is at this point, it's set to 1x. And then if you look into the boost schedule that we have, the longer you do not claim your rewards, the higher your boost would be. So if you don't claim for 5 days, then the boost becomes 1.05. 10 days and 20 days and 30 days. And at 30 days, then technically you're going to get 50% more rewards than you would have gotten if you were to claim your rewards on day one, as an example. And we're, development wise, we're going to be adding some more information on there that would help you kind of have a wider range of information available to you as well. But just to follow up on your initial question there, the price action in essence really is driven by the basics of demand and supply. And at this point, if you can see, our price action has been ranging within a channel. And that's mostly due to the fact that we have thousands of holders with Crown that have been burned to mint those NFTs. And that is essentially some sell pressure by the protocol that is being balanced on the back end by some demand and buybacks. And there will be a time where there is an inflection point of which kind of like the formula gets to the opposite as more new buyers come in. So we're seeing that there's the sell pressure at this point right now. It's really not a sell, quote unquote, sell pressure. It's just the dynamics and the mechanics of how the protocol actually takes that throne and burns 75% of it, and then mints those NFTs. So if you have noticed in the announcement that was made earlier today, we effectively burned $19 million worth of Crown, and that subsequently reduced our market cap by a significant percentage. And this would, again, now we have less Crown, less supply, and as the demand comes in, then the price appreciates. That's really kind of like the basics of, PA, so to speak.
Awesome. That was very eloquent. Thank you.
Sure thing.
Thanks for your time. And can I throw in one quick more question on compounding? When you limit nodes, I mean, a lot of people are planning on compounding, but if we get to the point of limiting nodes, how does that affect current holders where they're not going to be able to compound?
Well, I would love to actually address this, but we really can't at this point. Like I mentioned earlier, there's an economic model that we are perfecting. So there's going to be multiple factors into what and when. There's going to be some limitations. I do not personally anticipate like completely limiting the number of yield-bearing NFTs and thrown nodes, but there's going to be some reductions in the amount available to be minted in within certain periods of time, just to balance out the sustainability of the protocol. But the upgradability is definitely going to be there, and all the existing ones can actually utilize it.
Okay, thank you very much.
Sure. All right, I think we got Body YC and Good Mood Food. I like hearing that.
Thank you guys. I've just a simple question. We saw a lot of Zeus nodes being bought yesterday, like 1250. I'm just interested in knowing how many of these nodes do you own? Do the developer team own any of these nodes who have been bought so far? Because they the price of total nodes in Crown being bought in Zeus is like 14 is a big number in $1 million. And if let's just say in 30 days when they're going to be able to claim all this throne, the the effective price in Crown will be somewhere $14 million. And I know the like that's hard in the ecosystem. So for that not to collapse, how are you gonna? I'm just interested in knowing, do you own any of these? Because then I'm more, as an investor, I feel more safe in the project. And also, if not, how are you gonna manage? Are you gonna put um up the sales tax? Else, it's easier for the big guys, for the whales, just to dump the price and manipulate with the price in general.
Well, to answer that, most of the team held off on minting to give the community a chance to mint their Zeus nodes. Um, and
So what you're saying is most of these nodes are owned by the community and not you guys.
Yeah, that's
yeah,
like the most craziest part.
Okay.
Yeah,
So that's a lot of money
I know.
in 30 days.
but you have to understand that the protocol, everything is configurable. So
Yeah.
right now, we wanted to come out into the market to be attractive,
Yeah.
and that's why the boost is so high. But you have to understand, long term wise, we know some of these rewards might not be sustainable, and that's why we have the flexibility to wind down in order to keep up with the demand and inflation. And as we speak, some of our team members are actively managing our investments and farming and generating profits on the back end.
Of which will be used to do the buybacks.
Yeah, and then the taxes too. So that will offset the amount of selling that might happen within like 2 months from now.
Yeah, and keep in mind, as more users come in, that means more nodes are being minted. And to that effect, there are more crowns being burned as well. And thus, again, as I mentioned earlier, the supply gets reduced. There's this cycle that is, and there's this loop feedback into the ecosystem. And this is what we do on the back end, is we kind of balance all of these multiple different factors. And like FOMO also touched on, is everything is configurable. We can change and amend certain factors in the best way possible to keep our sustainability at its best.
All right. It was more for the clarification of knowing. I know you guys have a lot of it's been very hard the past days, so I'm understandable for what you're saying and stuff. It was just so to clarify whether you uh, own some of these nodes or not, because when you're the way you're stating it, I can hear on you that you will definitely configure it if somehow it does not manage or whatever. But I do get the ecosystem, so I knew there was gonna be, if all these guys were gonna sell, there would come a lot of money back into the ecosystem. So I was not completely worried. I just wanted to hear if whether or not you own some of these nodes or not. But you don't, as I can hear.
We would love to own all these nodes, but we wanted to be fair to the community and let you guys mint first before the team gets before the team mint any Zeus themselves. we wanted to put our community first before the team.
Yeah,
And
knowing the high demand on these yield-bearing NFTs, ahead of launch and the delays that we ran into, it would have been right for us to actually jump in and secure some of those nodes for ourselves. So we're just we made sure to give as much of ample time as possible for the community to be able to mint. And we also noticed that, even the batches that we have released, those sold out within the first few hours, that we had to actually release, additional availability to it, and then replenish them again earlier today. But as this demand lessens, the initial few hours, like 24, 40, 48, 96 hours, the team does plan to actually grab at least a few.
And on an ending note, do you have any idea how many nodes the team will actually be owning, or is that a stretch?
Well, we haven't set any limits to ourselves yet. But we would, we would discuss that internally and adjust for the, replenish as needed. We did not expect the demand to be so high, to be honest.
No, it is very odd. I was surprised as well, so that's why I kind of thought that some of you guys were already in it. Well, thank you for your time, guys. I don't know the time zone where you're at, but it's 12 a.m. here where I am in Denmark. So may you have a nice evening. I think that's the suiting thing to say.
Thank you. Yeah, I've got
Hey, thank you.
almost 3 a.m. here, my time.
All right, good mood food. If you have a question, ask away.
Hey guys, how y'all doing? Everybody can hear me okay?
Perfectly.
Yep, great.
Hey,
Yeah,
I've been with you guys since early December, so been here from the top to the bottom and back up on this roller coaster. And just a couple of things. I'm a numbers guy, so for me, it's not as critical. But I know that so much of investing, especially in DeFi, is psychological. And I'm just kind of wondering what the time frame looks like for some upgrades to the DApp. I like the new DApp. I just feel that it's odd that there's no branding, and that there's no. The general aesthetic doesn't, to me personally, doesn't scream high end protocol, especially for the cost of which, for instance, a Zeus or an Athena node are. And I'm fearful that there's a lot of newer investors who might see that, and it may cause hesitation just from the aesthetic standpoint of the presentation version of how the app looks compared to the version 1 of the DApp, which I thought was extremely well put together. So just kind of wondering what the time frame might look like as far as, now I know Golden Boy is probably running on fumes at this point, but just kind of wondering what your guys' plans are for that as far as bringing in some more branding so people, as soon as they're on the DApp, know exactly where they are and what they're doing.
All right. So,
Yeah.
well,
Yeah, go ahead, FOMO.
okay. All right. So, regarding the aesthetics to the DApp, our devs are constantly improving it daily. You could expect, major upgrades and, for it to look really nice in the coming days. But because of the delay regarding the because of regarding that delay, we wanted to release, nodes as soon as possible, and we didn't have the devs didn't have enough time to make it aesthetically pleasing, but at least all the features work correctly, and we will be adding to that in the coming days.
Totally understand, guys.
Yeah, that's pretty much really what I was about to say is the functionality wise, the DApp is complete at this point. Minus all the additional features that we're already developing to add onto it. However, given the circumstances of the delay that we ran into, and the community response to it, we just thought it would make sense for us to actually launch it as is, this was really
Right.
like alpha one, so to speak. But the branding, the additional features, those are actually being developed in the back end and will be released in a matter of days.
Awesome. And you know, like I agree with you guys. You know, I don't think it's as critical right this second because I would imagine that the overwhelming majority of nodes being minted are by people who are already holding Throne pre-release. Um, so you know, I just more see it as something in the future as more and more new eyeballs are coming to look at Midas that it that that aesthetic does play a psychological role. I feel like in a lot of new investors, especially less experienced ones, who may not even
Yeah,
know how
without a
nodes
doubt.
work and all those things. One quick suggestion or question of just kind of how your guys' opinion on it, because I've heard the idea tossed around in some other node projects that I'm involved with, and personally, I think it's a pretty good idea. As you guys get closer and closer to the node limits or capping nodes or at that point or where rewards are starting to be reduced for sustainability, I've heard ideas tossed around of possibly releasing a secondary line of NFTs that would almost act as node modifiers. For instance, like you could release a crown NFT that, if purchased based on its rarity, gives you certain benefits, meaning, you know, reduced claim taxes or bumps in APY or things of that nature. I'm just kind of curious what your guys' thoughts are on doing something like that in the future.
There's that kind of gave me a smile. Well, thank you for bringing this up. But at the same time, we're also limited to what we actually can touch on. But just know that we have lots in our plans, and some of those are actually being developed and will be added to our protocol. But we can't clarify and declare exactly what those plans are at this point.
Right, and I mean, like I said, it was just something that personally I've been throwing around in the Univ Discord, which is really the only other project I'm aware of that has an NFT based, you know, yield bearing node system. And you know, their tokenomics are completely different from what you guys are doing, but in that aspect, it's fairly similar. And I just thought it was a pretty good idea. I think it really adds a kind of a different level of utility, and it gives you guys a second set of NFTs that you could essentially sell to generate even more revenue for the protocol.
Yeah, I mean, you know, the protocol and the DApp itself, we're constantly improving it. But like I said, the fact that we ran into that kind of a hiccup kind of got us to the point where we needed to actually launch it just for the community to kind of feel more at ease with the circumstances that we had, you know, over the past 2 or 3 days. But development wise, it's constantly improving daily, I would say, as well. And very soon we will be releasing an upgraded version of the DApp with all the fancy stuff that you guys are used to. I mean, looking at our initial DApp, the MidasDAO DApp, I'm in love with it. You know, branding wise, you know, it has that, you know, fancy touch to it, and it's really pleasing to even interact with. And we will be seeing the same, if not even better, with the upgraded version that will be released soon.
Awesome. Well, guys, hey, I really appreciate all your hard work, and you know, you guys are doing a great job, and you guys have handled some pretty unexpected events. From my opinion, you guys have handled it very well. So you guys just keep up the good work, and look forward to seeing what you guys have in store.
Thank you,
Thank
man.
you.
All right, let's get a royal crowning up on stage. J Mini. J Mini, gonna have to unmute yourself.
There we go. Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Yep.
I think your mic is off, J Mini.
Hello?
Yep, now we
We
can
hear
hear
you.
you.
All right, sorry. I don't know what's going on. But my question is here at work, I minted nodes at work but it's not showing the name or the pictures. But then when I did it at home, I got my node, you could see it, you could see the picture and everything. So I was wondering, like, do you know why? Because on a lot of them, they're just saying throw node default name.
Are you using the same computer and browser, or are you using different machines?
Same computer, same browser, same everything, just different Wi-Fi's, really.
Interesting. And those names of the NFTs are like within the app, or have you listed those somewhere?
I mean, it just says throw node default name. I mean, I typed it in like it was supposed to when I minted them, but they're just not showing up. So I'm kind of confused.
I can't really tell. Maybe you can DM one of the mods and they can look into it for you. But from where we are right now, we can't really tell what's going on.
All right. That was my only question. I just didn't understand that part.
No worries. Right. I think we got technique.
Oh, to answer that question, we believe it's an IPFS era and it's being worked on. Golden Boy is actually working on this as we speak.
Hey, y'all. Can you hear me? Can you all hear me?
Yeah, we could hear you.
Yep.
All right, right on. Hey, just wanted to say thank you for doing this. I've been a fan in this project since back V1 when Midas was around like $500 something, and been lucky that it's been a profitable situation for me, especially after being a heavy investor in the Ring fiasco. I've been grateful for finding a project where the community and the devs care about their investors, and just wanted to say thanks first off for that. I did create a node yesterday, and I was just kind of curious, and I apologize if this is on the white paper. I might not have properly read it or understood it, but how it says, like, once you create the node, it says last claim and next claim. Last claim, it says like 19 hours ago, next claim like 4 hours ago or something like that. What does that mean? Does that mean you get your reward during the next claim? Because I didn't claim anything during the last claim when I created the node. Does that make sense at all? So like when you create the node, it says last claim, next claim, and I never did make a claim. So I was just curious what it means by saying last claim 19 hours ago, next claim after 4 hours. Is that when you're getting your reward for that node?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
believe that's
So that's basically just there, and it'll make more sense if you actually do claim. But the
Okay.
last claim says 23 hours ago. That's pretty much like when it was actually minted. Is in a way that also functions internally as it is. But that will be clearer, as we go on the daily rewards, and then some of the back end will be changed as well. That'll make it kind of easier for you to understand as well.
Okay. And then my next question is, of the options, I noticed that there's one that says burn. And this is the part that I was referring to that I might not have understood on the white paper. But why would I or anyone want to actually burn their claim profit? So is that what that's doing? Like, instead of me claiming that reward, I would burn it instead? And what's the purpose of that? Just as a community, you're also deciding to lose profits to add scarcity for supply and demand. Is that what's going on there? Or why would I choose burn?
There's actually no purpose for that. That's
Okay.
actually going to be removed, so just don't even bother with that
Okay.
button.
Okay.
Unless
Right
you
on.
actually want to nuke your um Your
Your
rewards.
holdings.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Okay,
mean,
that's
it's like you'd run
Yeah.
into, although it's kind of a remote possibility that someone wants to get rid of their NFT, right?
okay.
I don't
I
see
mean,
why, but I mean, I don't know. Maybe you're just upset about it. The functionality is there, but it will definitely be removed just to kind of avoid having that done accidentally by one of the community members.
yeah, I
Yeah.
mean,
So with the next
to
iteration
hey,
of the app, it'll be removed.
yeah,
Sorry.
to be
Okay.
transparent, all right, to be transparent, the burn function is there because of in the beginning we needed it for testing reasons, but it will be
Okay.
removed and or hidden.
Okay. No, that was my two main questions, and then just the last, maybe a suggestion. I did hear from another question that was asked today about some UI interface. As I know you guys are going to be continually working on that, but one thing that I noticed when I came back on this DApp is the max buttons have been removed from all. Like, let's say I want to convert throne to crown, or vice versa, crown to throne. I have to manually type that number in versus like clicking max or selling or buying anything. So I maybe it's just suggestion is to try to bring that one back as well. But
Yeah.
overall, very thankful for all you guys' hard work and effort, and I'm proud to be part of this since day one. So thanks everybody.
Of course. Thank you for being here, Technique. And yes, those max buttons will be coming back shortly.
Awesome. Thanks, y'all. Bye.
All right, we're just past an hour at this point, but we're happy to take a couple more questions. FOMO, would you like to bring
Yeah,
somebody on
let's
the stage? Let's see. We got Jan and Dana.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
hey Jan.
Oh, hold on one sec. Okay, I can't figure out how to put this on a speakerphone. I'm on mobile right now, but yeah, I just had a quick question regarding auto selling. I know that the whole issue with converting to V3 and how we ended up sticking with V2 and had a short fix, and I think auto selling was something that was we couldn't really get around. I'm just wondering if that's something that is going to be changed in the future, or if this is just how it's going to work.
So what exactly do you mean by the auto selling? Just to clarify that part.
Like when you mint and it shows as a sale on platforms like Deck Screener.
Okay. Well, we'll. I'm personally not quite sure if that's going to change, because that's really how it makes sense for the protocol to mint those NFTs by selling those, 75% of the throne, and then balance things out on the back end with the buybacks. But if there's any update to that, then you guys will definitely know about it through some of the announcements that we make.
Okay, that was really my only question. I didn't know if you guys had been doing talks with that issue or whatever's going on. Okay, well, yeah, thanks so much, guys. Appreciate it.
Yeah, and also just to kind of follow up on the question about that burn functionality, that's also needed for the upgradability of those NFTs. In a sense, you can't really upgrade without having to burn what you currently have. So later, when we introduce the upgrade functionality for the yield-bearing NFTs, for you to kind of scale up from a tier to another, there will be the use for that burn functionality. So although it was there throughout the testing phase and it wasn't removed, it will be removed at some point just to kind of avoid the accidental part. But then once we release the upgradability functionality within the DApp, then that will make its way back may be positioned differently just to avoid some of the accidents from happening. But that is an integral part to the upgradability function for the yield-bearing NFTs from a tier to another.
I actually had one more question just regarding upgrading your NFTs. So when you do upgrade your NFT, assuming that you don't claim your rewards, will your multiplier be reset because you have to mint a new NFT? Or are you guys planning on, making it so as long as you don't claim and you upgrade, the reward multiplier will stay there?
Very good question, but we really can't really answer that at this point. More and additional information will be released throughout the announcements, and of course, some detailed information on how different parts of the DApp will adjust and change should you choose to actually upgrade. But
Okay,
thank you for the
awesome.
question.
Cool. Thanks so much, guys. You guys are killing it. I appreciate it.
Sure thing. All right, we got Dan. We sent you the invite. Not sure if you were able to accept it. Let's do Don Marco.
This is Dan and Beard. I just joined. If do you want me to pause
Yeah,
and let
hi,
him
Dan.
ask the question? Okay, cool. So my question is, I've seen in the main wallet that something like 8 million mem has been pulled from liquidity in the past 24 hours, and there is currently something like 1.3 million left. So my question is, for the buybacks, to keep the price point hovering around 50 or whatever, how long is that going to last, I guess, or how long do y'all intend on doing it, and kind of what's the plan there? Makes sense? The question?
Can you repeat that question again?
Yeah, sure. So I've been following the what I'm calling like the main address, and the main address has pulled 8 million from the liquidity pool in mem, and there's currently something like 1.3 million left of that, and that address is responsible for the balancing when people mint nodes, and that creates the sell pressure. It's the one that's been buying back Crown in order to put pressure and keep the price stabilized, right? So my question is, with only 1.1 million left there, like what other funds might be going towards putting positive buyback pressure on the price? How long do y'all intend on doing that? From a very quick analysis point of view, it seems like it's not sustainable to me, but I don't know at all different pools of money you have. So my question is, do y'all intend on keeping that $50 price point hovering with the auto buyback? If so, how long do y'all think that'll last?
So right now, during the initial 24 to 48 hours, we're constantly actively monitoring and balancing out the protocol. We believe, after the initial few days, the minting, the initial huge demand in minting will calm down, and as the marketing kicks off and the minting kind of slows down a little bit, we're expecting more pressure, like organic demand, to come in, and that will balance the price out itself, and should reflect a higher price in Crown.
So is that so I think right now there's something like 165,000 Throne that have been minted. So I guess that's kind of part of the limited release of these node availabilities. That's just kind of to allow the marketing to go into play and things of that nature, to allow natural buy pressure coming back into play. Does that kind of sum up maybe?
Yeah, we're
Yeah,
essentially kind of waiting for, like what FOMO has said, to let the early users to mint their tokens first and wait for that sell pressure to reduce, and then kick off a mass marketing campaign to bring in, fresh buyers, therefore driving up the price, along with our investments as well for those buybacks.
That actually it seems like right now it's stabilizing around $50, somewhere around there. It's going back and forth. Is that like a target, or is that like, is there some sort of like equation that's going into play here that's saying, hey, we've definitely, I guess, sold enough crown during the minting process that we've got this much, and that's the only money that's being used towards buy pressure, or is there additional buy pressure to actually like hit like a target dollar amount?
That is what we are still, discussing every minute, just to keep the level quite healthy. Whenever and Golden Boy is actively monitoring that as well. So essentially, he is the one that really sees like the health level of it, and controls that.
Cool. Well, thank you for letting me ask a question.
No problem.
All right, Don Marco, would you like to ask a question? All right, we got Carlos joining us as well.
Hi guys.
Hey, Carlos.
Hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, cool. Yeah, thank you for having me here. Yeah, I wanted to ask you something. This is regarding the how would you implement this upgrade feature for the Thrones nodes? This is something that since you already already established that the scarcity of the nodes, how will you implement this feature? Because in the documentation says that it's coming.
Well,
So
then
when
it's coming, and further information will be definitely released on that.
Sorry,
yeah, we'll have
can
to
you come again?
you have to wait until more information is dropped on that. But regarding the upgradability feature, you're essentially burning your current NFTs to get a new one, the higher tier. So that's how it essentially works. You're gonna be burning NFTs for a new one.
That's correct.
Okay, but even though the scarcity is there, for example, if there is no nodes available, for example, for a higher tier.
Yeah.
Well, we'll make. Go ahead, Solid.
Good. Yeah. There's a lot that we're working on when it comes to the upgradability. This is really one of the main ideas and reasons why we haven't launched it off the bat. There's a lot to it, but when it comes to introducing the scarcity factor into the yield-bearing NFTs, we're still working out the details whether the upgradability will actually be affected by the scarcity of the NFTs, but mainly the initial scarcity factor that will be introduced at some point. We're not saying anytime soon, but at some point it's coming. Will mainly apply to minting new yield-bearing NFTs. But when it comes to upgrading existing ones, then those would most likely kind of fall into a different category with its own dynamic scarcity factors. That is kind of really in a separate category, but all combined within that economic model that our sustainability is based on. So more information will be released. We can't really, say for sure how it's going to play out, but that's really, one of those main points. Stay tuned. More information will be coming up soon. I think at this point we're focused on the initial phase of launching the nodes and catering to this influx of demand. I think in an hour or so, we're about to hit 6,000 existing NFTs, and that's quite a significant number. I think really none of us really expected this very high demand within the
Yeah.
first 24 hours. We're just literally been 24 hours since we launched, and to be at almost 6,000 NFTs, and most of those categories are sold out specifically, especially even the larger ones. That's on its own is quite an accomplishment. So our main focus at this point is to kind of keep everything ticking as is, while our development team on the back end is working on the constantly improving the DApp and introducing the upgrades to the DApp that you guys will see it within the next couple to few
Right.
days, if not sooner. And then once we have that kind of like baseline of the throne nodes, phase one, then we can move into adding the additional features, the upgradability, and to that extent, more information will be released that will kind of explain everything to you guys.
Right. Like, I think right now, now that we got nodes out of the way and it's finally released, we're gonna focus majority of our time on now marketing and what Solid has said, improving the website's interface, usability, more features, just to make it a little more appealing to the to any new audience. And after that, we could start discussing note upgrades, something along the lines of maybe you know requiring 5 of a node to get a higher tier node. That's one way we thought about upgrading those nodes, and therefore that might burn your existing nodes for those higher nodes. So right now,
Yeah.
I think it's pivotal that we focus highly on the marketing phase to introduce some new buyers.
Yeah, sure.
Right.
Thank you, guys.
And then and then how we go about the sustainability of those upgrades is you're technically going to be replacing a certain number of specific tier of nodes for the higher one. So to get an Apollo as an example, you're going to have to burn 5 Hermes nodes to upgrade to the one Apollo. And there's there's going to be other potential ways for you to do the upgrades. More information will be released, and I'm pretty sure you guys will be happy about it.
Yeah, cool. Thank you, guys, and I appreciate all the effort that you are putting in this project, and looking forward for future features. Thank you.
Thank you,
Okay,
Carlos.
thanks.
Thank you for being with us. All right,
All right,
Matt,
guys. I
Isaac,
think we're in the top.
Paolo. Yeah, we are, right? I was thinking about that.
Yeah, we're in the top of an hour. I think we'll take like one more question, and we'll end AMA. So we'll take one more. How about Kappa or Paul?
Hello.
Hey, Paul. What's up?
Hi, Paul.
Thanks for taking my question. I just wanted to ask if you want to reinvest your rewards constantly, is there anything you need to do to set that up? And also, can you name your node after you've already minted it? Thanks.
Would you like to address this, FOMO? Cash flows?
Yeah, so if you have an existing node you want to compound, you're free to do so. Obviously, you want to take advantage of the boost multiplier to maximize your rewards. So you're free to do that whenever and however you want. And what was the second question?
Changing the name of the minted yield-bearing NFTs.
Yeah, so if you messed up the name or if you didn't get a chance to name your node, we do have plans to maybe incorporate Crown as a fee in order to add these names, but that's still being discussed, and but it will be available.
Okay, thanks.
I think we also invited Kappa to join. If he's not able to join, I think it's about time to end the AMA. On the premise that we will do this again soon. Expect us to be around all the time. It's 3:20 a.m. my time here. It's been an awesome 24 hours, and at that point, I had just actually landed after 18 hours of travel and a 16-hour flight. So, and, you know, and to think of what the other guys, FOMO, cash flows, and especially Jin and Golden,
The whole team.
the entire team really has been
Yeah.
at it like nonstop. And, you know, shout out, you know,
Mhm.
on a personal level to Golden Boy, Jin, and of course, like we got Pen, Oryx, FOMO, cash flows. Everybody has been really doing an amazing job here. And I'm really happy where we are at this point. I'm probably going to watch, you know, the total nodes count to actually, you know, crush the 6,000 and call it a night. But then my night is only like, you know, a few hours. But I'm luckier than Golden Boy and the other guys here because I don't know how they do it, but they don't sleep that much. Most of us are on Red Bull the past few weeks as well. But thank you guys for joining us today. At some point, we had 420 members in the audience. So kudos to you guys for joining us. This has been great. We'll be talking to you guys very soon. Thank you,
Yeah,
FOMO and
stay tuned for
Cashflow.
more
All right.
updates. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, guys.
All right, later.